Look, I don't want you to worry about the money, okay? All right? Don't worry about that. Look, she doesn't want you to worry about that. Okay? It's gonna be okay.
All right, what up, y'all? It's Let Black, Uptown Collective. And for the inaugural episode of the Combo series, we have the one and only Washington Heights own Elvis Nolasco. Elvis, my brother, thank you so much for coming out, man. Taking your time.
Thank you for having me.
This is where it began for you, right? What does this place mean to you?
God, this place means a lot. This little theater right here at George Washington High School, right here in Washington Heights. This is the little theater that I chose to take the class, Theater 101. I figure I would be joining a class where hopefully I would be able to continue to break dance. And then things just changed. There was a man here by the name of Robert Stonebridge who introduced me to this wonderful world of theater, of playing, of creating characters, of self-expression. You and I are actually sitting in the little theater. And it's a really small little black box theater, but this is where it all began. This is where the magic started, and I got that taste, and I just didn't want to let go of it. I wanted more of it.
So I remember reading or seeing you on an interview where you talked about dance and how you helped take what you learned from dance into acting, into kind of communicating with audience, whether it's live or TV. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I just strongly believe that there's different instruments, and perfect example, if you're a pianist, whether a concert pianist or whatever kind of pianist you are, or a musician, your instruments is primarily your hands. As an actor, your instrument is your entire body, and and this is my take and my belief, that as a dancer and being able to start dancing at a very young age, I started dancing in the household with my family who just loved to dance when it came to like disco or came to salsa or merengue. So for me, it just started there, and I was just that kid that always wanted to dance until I segued into breakdancing, which then took my body to be able to do certain things with my body. And I just felt that as an actor, once I segue into theater, I feel that all of that training has helped me to have a better understanding of not only the body, but how to channel and use that on stage. Perfect example, when I did the one-man show, The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde, by our great author, Junot Diaz, that for me was like a dance. I'm on stage for an hour and 10 minutes. I'm doing at least 12 different characters, from an old lady, from a 307-pound ghetto nerd. I'm doing all of these different characters, but on stage, it felt like a dance. It felt like everything was a movement. Going in and out of different characters, I think, required some of that training that I got early on when it came to dancing.
What do you do to prepare to get yourself into become what these characters or that character? How do you do that?
It depends. I mean, different projects, you go at them differently. But primarily what I've been doing since way back, since I like it like that, I have bios, I have notepads that I've been writing character history, character bios on different characters. Tito from I Like It Like That had at least 2 or 3 pages of that. So I start off by writing my take or my interpretation of the character and giving the character a backstory that makes sense to me and that makes sense to the story. And that's something that I can grab onto and believe and help me bring these characters to life. But there's a series of exercises that I like to do, like trying to find the unfulfilled need of a character. What is that thing that the character truly needs, that is truly missing, that makes the character who he is? But the interesting thing about doing all that is that you do the work, you do the homework, you do the exercises, but then you gotta, step on stage or step in front of the camera and just throw it all away. Just throw it all away. You can't go into it, oh, what was that discovery I had? Oh, what was that thing I was thinking about? You gotta be in the moment and just just go full forth, and hopefully that work lives inside of you. So
Do you ever have an issue where you can't get out of character?
I'm really blessed and I'm truly grateful, and I need to say that before I answer that question, because Carter Nix in American Crime Season 1 was a character that I wouldn't say that it was a character that I couldn't get out of. It was a character that I felt like I had to stay in the sense that this conflicted, troubled, drug addicted, suffering from mental illness young man, as Carter Nix was, it was one of those type of characters that I needed to make sure that I stay in my own realm. Whenever I was on the set or whenever I was getting ready, I had to like really prepare and get myself into that world, because it was such a dark character. And then the character himself was a loner. He didn't fit in. He was an outcast, so he isolated a lot. So to help me with the character and stay in the character's world, then Elvis Nolasco incorporated that isolation aspect of the character. That character did sort of still live and marinated inside of me even after the work was done, because it was so much invested into that character. Just an amazing project where just everyone that came on board and is on board just gave 150%. But being able to be working with someone like John Ridley, someone who understands and knows exactly the story, these characters, his vision, what he wants, that made it a lot easier. And to be able to work with someone that you can trust, that you know what they want and they're going to help to lead you in the right direction. John really did let me know early on that he was going to ask a lot of me. I had no idea what that meant. It started by losing 25 pounds to play Carter Nix. You got to lose weight and you can't shave or cut your hair. He asked a lot of me. The character, as you saw, try to hang himself, was hosed down, was beat up, but was very emotional. So a lot of emotions had to come out, and a lot of it had to be distributed through the eyes. Carter Nix was sort of like the axis of season 1, and everything else was evolved around him. So being able to stay centered throughout the whole process was very important.
You've been doing so much work, but I think American Crime was like the next level. Like I think a lot of other people started seeing you, and you started getting a lot of attention. How did that feel? To finally kind of get the recognition you deserve. I think.
What really brings me joy and really brings me that thing that you just asked is when I run into people, and whether it's in la bodega or in the supermercado, or the old teacher from PS 132, they have this genuine appreciation for being able to see me where I'm at today. That's what brings me joy. But for me it was surreal. Yeah, it was surreal to see like the big posters on Times Square, and I'm like, wow, that's me up there, But did I think of that when I was breakdancing or in the little block box theater? Nah, I just wanted to continue to have fun.
I've been following for a long time, so like I saw you in that Juno play and I was going away, but you got a lot of new fans now. There's a lot of people watching you now, so there's a lot of more eyeballs. Do you feel different about it, or it's like I'm just doing my art?
I'm a native New Yorker, like I don't know where that whole thing fits in, because I caught the subway up here. Like I walk everywhere. I still go inside the local restaurants.
So, but where does that groundedness come from? Like it's pretty amazing. With all the success, you're still very like you take the Metro card. You take the train. You're still very much a part. Like I seen you in social settings, and you don't ever try to be like you're a man of the people and you're very grounded. What do you do? What do you attribute that to?
Yolanda Mercedes Curiel Calderón. That's my mom.
That's your mom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. My family, my family is, we come from very humble beginnings, and, we're a really close family. And I think my mom has, just by watching my mom, watching her since I was a little kid, you know, working, and what she instilled in me and my brothers, and you know, even my grandmother and grandfather, you know, like all my family always worked hard, you know, so but very, you know, strict, and I think also a lot has to do with my own journey, you know, growing up. You know, like I said, I grew up in the streets of New York City, so been there, done that, and we all get to a point where that doesn't work anymore. A lot of people helped me out along the way. You know, Robert Stonebridge was one, Spike Lee, you know, Darnell Martin, and I like it like that. And, you know, I learned and watched a lot of these folks and how they go about, John Ridley, and it's important to just, you know, I mean, yeah, you can get, you know, you can get lost in the sauce, as they say, but I think I attributed a lot to just my family, pretty much, and just having a spiritual foundation, you know.
We didn't have those back in the. We didn't have those in the '80s. And they said we were bad.
The 90s and late 80s in Washington Heights was a real time, like it was this real time when you never know what was gonna happen when you came out your door. Do you bring some of that into Chester? I mean, to Carter Nicks, like, did you bring some of that, like, what you experienced into that role?
Yes, and I think you're talking about Reaganomics, crack cocaine, AIDS, you know, hip hop, breakdancing, graffiti. Yeah, that era was pretty real, and a lot of these things did happen, not only in Washington Heights, but you know, Harlem, you know, as far as Philly. You grow up in an atmosphere where you get to see and witness a lot, and you know, I think it was David Mamet who talks about there's no such thing as creating a character. You are the character in so many ways. So what we bring is our experience, what we bring is our information. And you know, there was a lot of information for me in the 80s, in the 90s, you know. It was right there in front of us. It was right here in George Washington High School. But at the same time, you know, the creative and the artistic element of doing the work also kicks in and is also important.
And you spoke just now about Spike Lee and the relationship you guys have. How did that start? How has it been? 'Cause it seems like he's such a pioneer, and I think it's good. You must have learned some things from him.
You know, like when I worked with Spike in Clockers with Mekhi Phifer and Lawrence Adisa, Hassan, Sticky Fingers and Federal Star, and Delroy Lindo, a whole bunch of folks. You know, and like I remember when I auditioned for Clockers, I remember that process of auditioning and the way Spike handles that aspect of auditioning. And what I learned later on is that was most of his directing, you know, in that room. And I say that not to say that he doesn't direct you on the set, but he's got his hands on so many things, you know, the cameras, the angles, you know, the wardrobe, the lighting, the sound. So he's by the monitor, you know, just making sure that all of these little nuances or all these little different things are coming together.
What do you have in the works right now?
Right now, we're getting ready to shoot a feature called Roxanne, written and directed by Michael Larnell. We're doing the story of Roxanne, which is one of the hip-hop female pioneers of the 80s who broke grounds, you know, with her nasty, you know, spit on the mic. And, you know, at such a young age, too. She started really young from Queensbridge projects in Queens. And she came up with MC Shan and Marty Marl and Mr. Magic. And, yeah, so we're getting ready to start shoot pretty soon on that, Roxanne. Playing her manager. Yeah, and that's all I'm gonna say.
No more. Okay. Gotcha. But it's funny because you have hip hop in your blood, right? So
Oh, yeah.
That's must be an interesting role to tackle.
The opportunity came up, it was presented to me, and I immediately said yes, you know, because of my connection to the era, the phenomenon of hip hop and rap and graffiti and breakdancing and DJing, and I came up in that. Like I remember the jams, you know. I grew up most of my years in the Upper West Side. I went to Joan of Arc. I was in class with Daisy Castro, aka Baby Love of Rocksteady. I was in class with Dino from Rocksteady, Lucan Rock. You know, my boy George Zen One Murillo, founders of the incredible Bombing Masters, IBM, and my other boy Polk. You know, we were all in school together.
What's a dream project for you?
You know, I love Sidney Poitier, man.
Really?
Yeah. I would love to do a biopic, man. I've just been watching that man for so many years. I'm a big fan of his directing. You know, one of the films that my uncle, you know, they used to have El Edison, movie theater. And my uncle Victor took me there to see Let's Do It Again. So, you know, I've been watching Sidney since I was little, man, because he's just an interesting human being. You know, such an amazing actor, amazing human being, and you know, I love his background. You know, I believe he came from Barbados, and you know, went to the Negro Ensemble Theater and didn't let anything get in his way to achieve his goals and his dreams. You know, so that would be a passion project. That would be something that I would love to be able to do.
That sounds amazing, man.
Yeah.
That sounds,
So don't steal my ideas.
yeah. Well, if you're gonna do it, I'll let him.
Exactly.
You said you've done some direction before. Have you done that?
Yeah, well, being coming from the theater, you know, I've directed, you know, theater in the past, and I got a project that I've been working on for quite some time now. That's another passion project that I hope to start shooting pretty soon. But yeah, I definitely want to be able to start engaging more into producing and directing.
Do you have any like advice you would give to young actors of color? It just seems like it's still tough for actors of color still.
We have moved forward, but I think we still have a lot more to go. Especially, you know, we of Afro-Latino background, culture. People a lot of times do not understand the diversity, and I think it's important to be able to keep pushing forward to continue to open those doors so that others, you know, coming, and I'm grateful to, like, you know, people like, you know, Zoe and Gina Torres, Laz Alonso, you know, who are all Afro-Latinos, who are able to, you know, to say, you know what, give me an opportunity, give me the chance to play the character, you know, bring the character to life. Don't focus too much on my last name being Torres or Alonso or Nolasco. Yes, there's other influences in there, but let's focus on the work and on the character. And so yeah, so we still got some ways to go.
Some Dominicans don't, you know, they're as black as they are, they'll say, no, I'm not black, you know. Why do you feel it's important to say, you know, I'm Afro-Latino, I'm a black Dominican? Why is that important to you?
It's important in so many different ways, you know. One, you know, when I look at my family structure, when I look at my grandmother, La Vieja Pirula, you know, I'm looking at someone who's, you can't deny that the woman is probably, you know, Kunta Kinte's, you know, cousin.
It's obvious.
It's obvious, you know, so like, why deny the obvious, you know? And if you look at your history, you know, I mean, and a lot of people fail to, or whatever, for whatever reason, don't engage in that. You know, before you had a slave trader, before you had a slave owner, you needed a slave maker. And where we come from in the Caribbean, you know, La Isla Española, Dominican Republic, Haiti, you know, Jamaica, Cuba. I mean, you know, the list goes on, you know. That was the breaking grounds of slavery. And the influences are there. And the reason it's important for me is because I would be doing my ancestors an injustice if I don't acknowledge and recognize, you know, who I am, you know. You know, when you grow up with a mother who's Dominican, who's watching novelas, and there's only one TV, so you're forced to watch la novela, with mom, but you don't see yourself on that TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Unless you're a slave or like the maid or something. That's the only way you saw it.
You see other things that don't look like you, for lack of a better word, you know. And so then you start questioning that, because when you get older, and then you watch, you know, a series like Blacks in Latin America by Henry Louis Gates, you know, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. There's blacks in Mexico, where? There's blacks in where? You know, there was a city founded by a black man, where? You know, so all of these aspects and all of these things are of interest. And, you know, at the core of it all, you know, I'm an artist, you know, and, but I'm also Elvis Nolasco.
James Baldwin, I'm a paraphrase, of course, he says, you know, to be black and conscious in America is to live like in a constant state of rage. And I think that fluctuates, but like lately with Trump on TV every day, does that bother you at all? Like, because it's someone telling you and your parents, you know, you're not good enough, you know, you don't belong here, you're a rapist. Does that bother your soul at all? Does it, or how do you deal with it?
To say it doesn't bother would be, you know, would not be true. There's a spirit, there's a morality deficiency that's really going on. And I think a lot of that is attributed by the fact that our society has just changed. You know, we don't look at TV like we used to look at TV. You know, I grew up watching The Odd Couple, Laverne and Shirley, but it was television, and there was, you know, nowadays we're not really watching television, you know. We're watching this new world of disrespect, of say whatever you want to say, reality TV, you know. Everything is a competition, you know, American Ninja, you know, this story, this, you know. So we're constantly competing, you know, and what's going on in this world that you just asked me if it bothers me, I don't even engage in it, because I don't know how real it is. It's entertainment. You know, it's entertainment, and it, for lack of a better word, it sucks.
So any final thoughts, anything else you want to share?
Well, no, I just want to thank you and DJ Boy over there on the sidelines for doing this. And yeah, this is so memorable, man. Like George Washington High School, this little theater, you know, when the idea came up of having, I quickly said, let's do it here, because, you know, we all have dreams, you know, we all have aspirations. We come from different backgrounds. So I want to make sure that, you know, that little kid who's, you know, on the 1 train or the 8 train right now, breakdancing, you know, or doing spoken word, you know, to dream big, man, and know that if you can dream it, you can be it, and that, you know. So yeah, this is important for me, man, because this is where it all began. So we always want to stay connected to our roots and connected to our beginnings, man. So
That's awesome.
thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.